Welcome back, Knuckleheads. I'm Lupine Fiasco. This is Daily FaB Gameplay. Today, by popular request, we're looking at a game versus Katsu the Wanderer. For anyone who is new to the channel, welcome to the jungle. What we do here is review replays of games that I played on the Talishar client days or weeks ago, after enough time has passed that I lose my bias and can more objectively judge the quality of my play. I will talk through turn cycles as if I were taking them now, and explain the line I would take, then compare that to the line I did take at the time of recording. We either learn from my mistakes or reinforce good play patterns, with the overall goal of tightening and optimizing our gameplay in the future to take down paper events like the ongoing Road to Nationals, and most importantly, walk away with that shiny, shiny cardboard. If you would like to check out the deck that I'm playing here or try it for yourself on Talishar, a FaB deck link is in the video description below. While you're down there, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. A YouTube subscription is the best free way to support me and to make sure that you see daily FaB gameplay in your video feed 5 days a week. If you'd like to go above and beyond, the best paid way to support me is through Patreon, and a Patreon link is also in the video description. A Patreon subscription will get you access to the DFG Discord. At higher tier levels, your name will appear in every DFG video, you'll get bonus DFG content every week, and there are even more benefits to come. Daily FaB gameplay will always be free 5 days a week, so for those who can afford to support me, I truly appreciate it. Let's talk about our sideboard and about the Katsu game plan. I'll set the record straight right at the start and tell you that Katsu is a bad matchup for Kayo. I don't think it's unwinnable or anything so dire, but Katsu remains king of the aggro mirror. For any deck looking to convert large hands to damage, the prospect of blocking multiple on-hits is very unappealing. But that being said, Kayo definitely has better tools for the job than FaB does. Kayo brings a full fridge complete with Scowling Flesh Bag, arguably the best piece of defensive armor in the game. He has multiple forms of Arsenal Disruption that pair very well with a Might token to hit key breakpoints, and while his average Blood Rush turn will deal less damage than FaB's average Art of War turn, the damage is solid enough to take Katsu off his rhythm when life totals start to get low. All that said, smart blocks from Kayo and a little unluckiness from Katsu will be plenty to get you there. This is an older game featuring version 1 of my Kayo list, which means that we are bringing in 6 Clashes and 2 Humbles. Humble sadly won't benefit from a Blood Rush Bellow, but is still excellent disruption if Katsu doesn't draw into his combo pieces naturally. I'm choosing to leave Pulping in the sideboard to play around the potential of Sink Below or Flick Flack, as Katsu's hero power gives him more freedom to play defense reactions at very little opportunity cost compared to other aggro decks. We're readying up with Tunic to pair with our 2-cost 6s. An agility token, Tunic activation, and any 2 for 6 lets us cleanly work a Mandible Claw into every third turn, and this matchup can be grindy enough to let us see more than one of those. Let's see if our deck can send Katsu wandering up to his ancestors. We lose the die roll and are going first. Unfortunately, our opening hand doesn't let us take advantage of that fact. We can play our Savage Feast and discard any card in our hand to at least make a Might token. I believe that we should pitch our Beast Within. It's kind of a risky play no matter what. Ideally, we are keeping this swing big for our arsenal. But even if we pitch our Send Packing and end up keeping our Beast Within, that isn't a good card for the arsenal either. Between Smash Instinct and Beast Within, neither of these are good. Our other option could just be to pass the turn and tuck a Swing Pig into arsenal, but I'd at least like to make a Might token. It could also be that we should roll Scabs, and assuming that we roll well enough, maybe we could swing big, then Savage Feast. That's probably what I would do if I'm taking this line now. Roll Scabskins, try to get a 4 or higher, and if we do get there, then we can push a lot of damage over the top of Katsu's blocks and still set up an arsenal. we do play the Savage Feast, we do pitch our Beast Within, we do get unlucky and discard our Swing Big. Drawing into a second Savage Feast is still fine. That's a lot better for our arsenal than Smash Instinct is. And we get a few cards out of Katsu's hand, not that that's particularly relevant on turn 1. We do draw into a Cast Bones, so I would like to do a bit of blocking here if I can. If I can go down to just Cast Bones in hand, that's totally fine. I don't love burning my Might token, but I don't have another way to use it. The Command and Conquer here, unfortunately, hitting us with a Agile Windup in hand. If this was another 3 block, this would be a clean 2-card block on the CNC. As it is, we are going to overblock for 7, which is going to let us play this Cast Bones. So still getting our 1-card 6, but it does take a little more armor than we'd like to get us there. The cards that we draw into are bad, and we reveal more bad cards on top of our deck. A second Beast Within and a third blue on top of the deck means that we really can't convert this hand super well with our Savage Feast. Now we could still play with a large hand if Katsu does not do anything particularly threatening. Maybe he drew a dud hand, maybe we're looking at Kadachi, E-Strike. We could do something with this 5 cards. But I'm not married to the idea, and I don't feel like this is going to be the big pop-off turn we're looking for. As far as 5-card conversion, we're going to get big damage. We really want to keep a blue, and we want to keep this Beast Within to work with our Savage Feast. It will come in for 12 with Go Again. We'll have 2 cards in our hand and 2 resources floating with a Tunic. So I really want to block here. I don't want to use Flesh Bag. It's tempting. I want to keep Katsu off of big damage while I look to get big damage of my own, but I should not be overcommitting to defense here. So how I'd like to block this Surging Strike is with Send Packing and Apex Bonebreaker. We cover 5. If Katsu has the Ancestral Empowerment, great for him. We are not going to overblock just to play around it. But I do want to block this Surging Strike. That's also going to leave us open to block whatever the follow-up is. If Katsu does have a Welling Gust Wave, we could block for 4. It isn't great, but it is something. It prompts him to maybe use his Breaking Scales early. All of this is to say, no matter what, I want to block this Surging Strike with Send Packing and Bonebreaker. And I make what I think is a huge mistake using Flesh Bag this early. Now I can see the appeal that we want to keep Katsu off of a big explosive turn while we get ready for Savage Feast, discard Beast Within, Claw, Send Packing, but we need to get cards out of our hand. We want to discard Beast Within to Savage Feast, and the only way to ensure that happens is to block with the other cards in our hand. So we are already getting punished as Katsu breaks Pouncing Links, finds Descending Gust Wave, has Bonds of Ancestry. This isn't going to be a huge damage turn, but we're taking a lot of damage really to not do anything. We don't want these cards in our hand because we want to discard our Beast Within to the Savage Feast. We decide to block the 100 Winds. I don't love it. I understand what I'm looking for here, which is to discard Agile Windup at the start of my turn, then play Savage Feast, and that gets us down to just these 2 cards in hand. But if I was already okay with that, we should have been blocking earlier. We should have blocked Surging Strike with armor. We should have kept our Flesh Bag. Not having our Flesh Bag going forward is going to be a huge problem, and we even took 13 damage through the Flesh Bag and gave Katsu an arsenal. So huge mistake. Drawing into another Beast Within is unfortunate, but we knew the top couple cards of our deck were going to be clunkers. what we draw into here is a few non-blocks, and this is where we are going to get punished by not having our flesh bag. We can no longer play effective defense. If we had our flesh bag here, we could block the spinning wheel kick with flesh bag and one of these 3 blocks. That would effectively neuter all of Katsu's offense, as he would lose a card from hand. He would need to have Surging Strike and one of the Gust Waves naturally to be able to get value out of his combo, but he would not have bonds. He would not be able to grab anything effective from his discard. So this is where I would love to have used Flesh Bag. We would have effectively dealt the same amount of damage to Katsu. If we can put him to 21, somewhere under 25, with this agility, now we can Bare Fangs into Claw, into Wild Ride potentially. We would have been in a much better position and at a higher life total leaving this turn, but we can no longer play that level of defense. So we find ourselves in a position where we can block the spinning wheel kick, but now we're really at the mercy of whatever Katsu still has in his hand, because we need to keep one of these blues. If we use both of our blues on defense, then our turn looks like use Tunic, pitch Wild Ride, play Bare Fangs. It's a 1-card 9 that's very strong, but we're losing a lot of our tempo, and it's because we burned our flesh bag when we didn't need to. We could have afforded to block on that last turn, and we no longer can. So another Surging Strike. We have to take this. We cannot cover the damage, nor do we particularly want to. So we are just gonna let Katsu run wild. We could block this Descendant Gust Wave, Whelming Gust Wave if we wanted to, but then we leave ourselves with a 1-card 9, and that might be what we need to do. We know that Katsu's follow-up to Bonds is probably just 100 wins, which is not incredible. I think here we should be blocking. We should not let Katsu get a card for his hand. In general, I feel like that flesh bag block did lose us the game, and it's all going to spiral from here, but we can see where the rest of this game goes. We just know that Katsu is very consistent if he's able to hit, and while our armor is good, it isn't that good. So just looking at a little vanilla damage from Katsu, it is going to put us down to 11. We can still crack back with a decent amount of power, but we are in a spot where a really solid Katsu hand can just kill us. 11 is not nearly high enough to feel comfortable just tanking damage from Katsu. Now, he does take the Bare Fangs damage. We're going to work a Claw into here. We aren't going to play the Wild Ride. We would like to save it in case Katsu does brick to convert what may end up being a 5-card hand. Here we have Spinning Wheel Kick for 4. As far as blocking this, I think Clash and Bone Breaker is a fine block. We could then block the follow-up to this if we need to with our Blood Rush Bellow and Scab Skins, potentially getting Tunic in there as well. That puts us in a position to Wild Ride from Arsenal. Yes, we play risky by potentially discarding our Cast Bones and losing the go again on Wild Ride, but if we get the Cast Bones and keep it, I think we have to take a risk here. I think we've put ourselves in a bad enough position that we need to start playing risky. We need to start asking Katsu to have it. So I'm considering the overblock here so that I can keep a blue, a Blood Rush, and a Clash of Agility, which is all very strong, but we get got by the Ancestral Empowerment, then the Art of War. I think this is a bit of positive variance from Katsu. Without knowing his hand, we can't know if he had the Art of War naturally or if he drew into it. But it does put us in a very bad position. This follow-up Surging Strike is similarly bad, as this is a Whelming Gust Wave. Another way that I think things are not going super well for us. We obviously can't take this. We need to block it in some way. So we are going to block with our Blood Rush Bellow and our Clash. The agility doesn't matter. We will just play our Wild Ride for 7, trigger our Kayo. And we're in the Death Spiral. We're hoping that Katsu somehow doesn't have it, but definitely looking dire. Whelming Gust Wave for 3 here. We need to be aware of Breaking Scales and Breeze Rider Boots. If this is a 0 in Katsu's hand, then it can be Bonds. Bonds does kill us. So we are going to need to block to prevent the Breeze Rider hit. We can block with our Wrecker Romp and Apex Bonebreaker to cover the 4. Then we return Humble for 8 and discard one of these Mighty Windups to create 2 Might tokens. And that is what we're going to want to do. Unfortunately, we are 1 resource short of being able to Claw, discard, Humble. But giving up our Tunic earlier on defense prevents us from taking that line. It would be a cool line if we could take it, but we are just unable to do so. So we turn off Katsu's hero power, draw into a bit of a clunker. I don't feel great about taking this Be Like Water, but it's possible that we're supposed to. Katsu has no floating resources to use the Be Like Water effect, and if he does pitch to Be Like Water, then he's very face up. It's just whatever he has in his arsenal, which would have to be exactly Whelming, and if it is exactly Whelming, then we could block that. I think we are in a position where we could take this Be Like Water damage and just hope that Katsu doesn't have it. We see, in fact, this was a Fluster Fist. This is how we get into trouble versus Katsu when we overblock too early, is that we just put ourselves in this position where Katsu could really have anything. Breeze Rider Boots is so conditionally good, but when it is good, it's insane. We do have to block the Fluster Fist or else we just die. So unfortunately, the best we can do is return an 8-power Command and Conquer. We want to hope that we catch Katsu without the ability to block, but no such luck, as he is able to cleanly cover 8. Finally, Whelming Gust Wave for 2. We could block this, and in fact we probably should, if we block with Runner. On our turn, we Humble for 6, pitching our Assault and Battery, then discarding our Agile Windup to make Agility and Might. We are just hoping that that's enough to get us there, though still unlikely. Choosing to pass the turn with now blocks puts us dead to Breeze Rider Boots and the Bonds of Ancestry in Katsu's arsenal. And we'll just take the damage because we are dead anyway. So we can see that Katsu prevented almost a full point of damage per turn, more than we did, full point of value. Our flashback block killed us. It was premature. We did not have the 4-card hand that converts to big damage. There are definitely situations where we cast Bones, we get our 6 Mights and our Agility, and we keep our 5-card hand, so we take all of the damage that Katsu throws at us because our return fire is just that much higher. But based on what we had, which is a handful of blues and yellows and a blue and a yellow on top of our deck, that wasn't the turn to do it. We needed to block, we needed to save our flesh bag, we needed to keep a blue and our beast within and still have a strong turn while also playing more defense and keeping our flesh bag on the table. You will notice your KO games go so much better when you properly sit on your flesh bag until you need it. And the earlier you block with flesh bag, the more likely you are to lose the game. It is that good, and you need to save it for when you know it'll be effective. And when we blocked with it, we didn't know it would be effective, and we had other defensive options available to us. So I hope you learned something from this game. I hope you enjoyed it. To the one person in my comments who wanted me to post more losses, here you go. If you did enjoy this, be sure to assault and batter that like button. My comments are always open for questions or feedback. I'd ask again that if you have not already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube. It's free. It helps me out a lot. But whatever you do, come back tomorrow for more daily FaB gameplay. And until then, take care.